This video idea that you are watching right now, I had right before What's the Buzz put this video out, and then I seen that What's the Buzz put this video out, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna do it anymore. This guy already beat me to it. Man, I'm really upset about it. But then I watched his video and I seen that his takes are absolutely horrible. And we're in the green light again, baby! So with that being said, I'm going to be ranking every single album from the big three. And I'm going to get a lot more thorough than What's the Buzz did on the types of albums, because he only had like 17 albums. We got 27 on this baby. Alright? So with that being said, get your cranberry juice, get your Cheerios, and let's get right into it. At number 27, we have Honestly Nevermind, and I feel like I don't really have to explain this a lot. This album just was not that strong at all. I definitely think it's a little bit overhated, but for the most part, it's really not that great. At number 26, I have Certified Lover Boy, and I think this goes to show how strong everybody's discography is here, because I'm not gonna lie, CLB is really not that horrible of an album. I think the album cover definitely took it down a little bit of seriousness. It was kind of hard to respect this album a little bit. But with that being said, it still has some very strong songs on here like Champagne Poetry and a bunch more that are very similar to that. With that being said, at number 25, I have What a Time to Be Alive, which is crazy to me because in the bottom three albums of the big three are already into some pretty great albums. I really like this collaboration album a lot, but I just think it doesn't compete to a lot of Drake's other albums, if that makes sense. But with that being said, at number 24, very hot take, I have Her Loss. And I know you're probably like, I can't believe you have the one with 21 Savage over the one with Future. And I'm just gonna say, 21 Savage is pretty good, man. 21 Savage is a pretty good feature artist, and I think that he complements Drake very well on this album. But these two go back and forth in my opinion. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like What a Time to Be Alive is definitely more iconic, but Her Loss might have a recency bias, and I actually enjoyed the album a decent amount. With that being said, at number 23, we have So Far Gone, and bro, it's just so far gone. I'm not gonna lie. This isn't that incredible of an album, but I think it's a pretty great album. And this is where it's gonna get really spicy, because I have, above all these Drake albums, the first Kendrick Lamar album, and that is Untitled Unmastered. And this isn't even really like an album, it's more of a compilation, if that makes sense, of just like some of Kendrick Lamar's scraps. And I still think that they're better than a lot of these Drake albums, just because how strong Kendrick Lamar's everything is, bro. His musical talent is crazy in my opinion. And yeah, you could argue that Drake's a little bit more versatile in terms of the singing as well as mixing that with his rapping, but Kendrick Lamar is just so incredible. Like, I love his voice. I think his voice is incredible, and it kind of hurts to even have Untitled Unmastered this low on here. But at number 21, I have For All the Dogs, which is Drake's most recent album. I actually love a lot of the songs on here, and I actually like the album cover on this. I also think that Drake used his features to the best of his ability on here. We have great features from Chief Keef, which I wish the feature was a lot longer. But we have pretty good features from Tizo Touchdown, arguably Tizo Touchdown's best performance ever on Amen, which is kind of a hot take, but I really enjoyed his feature on there. But with that being said, at number 20, we have Overly Dedicated, and I think this album's just slept on. It's like really slept on. And even though some people don't really consider it a studio album, because it's not really a studio album, this is still an incredible piece of work, and almost every song on here is incredible. At number 19, I have Care Package by Drake, and it's just at number 19. At number 18, I have Scorpion by Drake, and some people love this album, some people hate this album, but bro, it's just Scorpion. At number 17, I have Thank Me Later, and I think this is a really good way for Drake to continue his beginning of his career, and I think it's iconic. And I think it really goes to show how strong their catalog again is, because this incredible famous album is at number 17. Number 16, I have Views. I think it's a pretty good album. Number 15, I have the first J. Cole album, which is KOD. I think this album is overhated and underrated, if that makes sense. Maybe not underrated, because it's still a pretty big album, but KOD was definitely a very impressive album in my opinion. At number 14, I have the Off Season by J. Cole, and I think this is slightly better than KOD. Maybe the performance on Off Season was a little bit better in my opinion, but I think these kind of go back and forth, because KOD had a very good storyline, whereas the Off Season is kind of like a victory lap from J. Cole almost, and I'm very excited to see what his next album is. At number 13, we have another J. Cole album, which is Cold World, and beautiful way to start his discography, in my opinion. Some very classics on here. And at number 12, I have Section 80. Bro, it's beautiful. At number 11, I have Nothing Was the Same. Bro, it's beautiful. At number 10, I have Born Sinner. Bro, it's beautiful. And then at number 9, we have Mr. Moore on the Big Steppers. Definitely an overhated album, I feel like. I think people didn't understand the fact that this was a more personal album for Kendrick. Actually, I'm lying. I feel like people did understand that. But it definitely doesn't get the replays that a lot of his other albums do. And I still think that this is a very incredible track list. And just the quality of Kendrick's work here is very obvious. Like, Kendrick Lamar is one of the most thorough artists of all time. Like, I genuinely think that Kendrick Lamar on this shows that he's levels above Drake and, to be honest, J. Cole too, because this is just a beautiful put together album. At number 8, I have More Life. Also, it sounded like I just breathed into my microphone, but I didn't mean to. But also, this More Life album is incredible. I love the production on here. At number 7, I have Take Care. Probably one of Drake's best albums. You could argue that it is his best album. I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of these last Drake albums are incredible. Take Care is a very big classic. That's a been known fact, and it's a beautiful album. At number 6, I have If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. And again, Jungle's on here, bro. There's so many beautiful songs on If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. Incredible production. Drake sounds hungry on here, and it's just a great album. We are now cracking into the top 5, and I think all of these albums are near perfect, if that makes sense. At 2014, Forest Hill Drive is an incredible album, and a lot of people would argue that it's J. Cole's best, but I actually have one above this. But you cannot deny that there's a ton of hits on 2014 Forest Hill Drive, and it's just a classic album by J. Cole, and arguably his best. At number 4, I have DAMN. I don't swear on this channel, bro. So if you wanted to, you could show your grandma, your entire family, this video to show them the right opinion on the Big Three's ranking. But this album is beautiful, very cohesive, arguably Kendrick Lamar's most professionally put together work. He gets a bunch of great songs and makes it very digestible and able to be mainstream. But at number 3, I have For Your Eyes Only, which is a very, very hot take. I understand that. But I think that this album is genuinely one of the most beautiful pieces of work that I've ever heard in my entire life. And I think it's one of my favorite albums in general. I love this album so much. And I think it's crazy that people don't love this album more. Like, people say that it's boring. People always bring up the fact that it's boring, but the storyline on here is so beautiful. The music's really not even that boring. A lot of it's very heartfelt if you actually listen to the lyrics on it, and I think it's just an incredible album, and Drake could never put something this beautiful out. But at number 2, I have Good Kid, Mad City. And okay, man, I understand that a lot of people have the number 1 spot above this, but Good Kid, Mad City, even though it's full of slaps, very cohesive album, very beautiful album. Actually, I had the same van that was on the cover of this album, so I have very sentimental value for this album. But I think that the reason why it's at number 2 and not number 1 is just because how cohesive number 1 is, and that is To Pimp a Butterfly, arguably the greatest rap album. No. Arguably the greatest album of all time. This will be passed on in the history books as something that was truly beautiful. Bro, Obama loves this album. Obama loves this album. When have you heard a president talk about Kendrick Lamar dropping an absolute slap? Obama did. That's who. Okay, with that being said, I love this album very much. Incredible album. And I love all these artists. Incredible artists. But Kendrick Lamar has the strongest albums. Like, out of everybody, I think that Kendrick Lamar averages the best albums. And with that being said, let me know how you guys feel in the comments below for a chance to get pinned. I love you all very much. I'm conflicted, and I'm out.